Good morning, my beautiful sangha around me. I'm Joo Ahn. That's kind of easy to remember. My spiritual journey began as a child growing up in a small Baptist church. I was baffled from an early age because no one else seemed to question the doctrine. I constantly asked why, and was told because, with no explanation. Even as a young child, I felt a spiritual connection to the universe, but was not sure how to proceed. I wish I could tell my young self that I just needed to keep on my path and keep asking questions. A couple of weeks ago on my vacation, I heard the chimes from a church across the lake playing hymns I recognized from my childhood. I was overcome by the gratitude and warmth I felt for the people who nurtured me in my childhood. In that little Baptist church, I was given a solid base of faith with which to continue my journey. For many years, I pursued a solo spiritual journey, studying Tara Brach, the Dalai Lama, Thich Nhat Hanh, Bill Wilson, and even reading the Bible with adult eyes. My problem with a solo spiritual journey is that I spent most of my time with my own thoughts, often a disturbing and confusing place. In January 2020, 3 months before the pandemic, I attended a newcomer introductory class at the Wine Buddhist Temple. I was intrigued with Wine Buddhism's threefold practice: cultivating the spirit, inquiry into human affairs and universal principles, and choice and action. I was anxious to learn more. I distinctly remember my first time in the Dharma Hall. Even when Reverend Ginger told me to stop talking to my friend before the service, I just smiled. I was home. It was not the only time I've ever been told to be quiet. Sitting beside members of this sangha in meditation is a rich experience that grows more meaningful to me the longer I sit on my cushion. Recently, during my scripture study with Reverend Sean, I realized that I'm exactly where I need to be today, learning to know, nurture, and use my mind, which is perfect and complete, utterly impartial, and selfless like Il Song. To be encouraged to learn and ask questions for a clear understanding of Dharma is a joyful freedom. Time with our reverends is a gift that everyone should allow themselves, and I encourage you to spend time cleaning, organizing, weeding, watering, etc. You will most often leave with a snack and wise Dharma words to contemplate. I am also inspired by the willingness of my fellow Sangha members to invite questions and reveal their experiences through Dharma studies, retreats, walks in the woods, and sharing their daily lives. I am humbled to be given a dharma-name today as I continue my study and practice of Wine Buddhism. I know that this is not an honorific title. Instead, it signifies my willingness to continue my spiritual journey while deepening my understanding of Wine Buddhism. Thank you to all of you here today and online. You allow me to stand in the forest among your knowledge and love. I am a grateful woman.
My spiritual journey has always been, even when I didn't really know it or call it that, an endeavor to return to my true nature. Every moment of our lives, really, as I see it, is a step on a path to our true nature. Whether we're moving towards it or away, each step is on that path. I have a fleeting memory from early childhood of feeling filled with infinite love, purity, tranquility, and expansiveness, while also telling myself, don't lose this, don't forget this feeling. But growing up as a human in a distracting and judgmental world, I experienced pain and loss, as we all do, and I was taught to distrust my own perceptions, thoughts, and feelings along the way. So for a while, I did lose a hold on this expansive clarity. But periodically, I glimpsed it, and it was pushing me along a sacred path. Although I was raised in a secular family void of spiritual discussions, I always felt an affinity to something greater than myself, beyond myself, and a curiosity about the universe, how it worked, and why. Throughout my life, I found many delightful sources of wisdom: philosophy, anthropology, physics and chemistry, the Dalai Lama, Thich Nhat Hanh, Lao Tzu, Yogananda, the Torah, poetry, and others. Practicing medicine, attending various religious services, being with nature, and regular meditation and yoga practices. My spiritual path taught me that I needed to slow down, to let go and just be. When I did slow down enough, I saw that the present moment is really all that we have. Each moment, a wave, disappearing and dissolving into an ocean of stillness. By deepening my awareness of each moment, my practice helped me in daily life. Seeing things closer to how they really are, their interconnectedness, and that I was not the separate self I had thought I was, helped me have enough equanimity, compassion, and hope to go on with life when things were difficult. Many years ago, when our kids were 9 and 11, my husband died unexpectedly through a heart attack, leaving me to support and raise our beautiful children on my own. Through my spiritual practice, I gradually learned that I had control over how I perceived and felt about experiences in my life. I could cultivate joy instead of despair, gratitude for the blessings I had instead of resentment over what was missing. Seeing and practicing this truth was a game-changing revolution that helped me get through each day. Then about 7 years ago, some friends brought me to a service here. I felt at home. The serene and simple architecture reminded me of Unitarian churches and Reformed Judaism temples I had attended. Wangong's gentle voice was welcoming. Dharma talks helped me understand Buddhist and Taoist concepts I had been pondering on my own. Meditating and discussing with a sangha was very powerful, something I hadn't even known I was missing. The threefold practice and fourfold grace gave me concrete intuitive tools to apply toward living a good life and benefiting others. Receiving a dharma-name is the right next step for me on this path. Practicing Won Buddhism in the last several years, I profoundly appreciate the immeasurable gifts this temple, its generous cumenims, and the sangha have given me. They have led me closer to understanding my true nature, teaching me that each of us is already good, whole, and complete. Won Buddhist scriptures emphasize that dedication is crucial to success. In receiving a Dharma name, I dedicate myself sincerely to my practice on a spiritual path. As the German poet Goethe said, quote, "Unless there is commitment, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back." But there's one elemental truth. The moment one definitely commits oneself, all sorts of things begin to happen that would never otherwise have occurred, which no one could have dreamed, unquote. My hope is that as I continue this journey, I will pause more and look more deeply at what is, to help me then apply greater clarity to everything I do each day. Thank you. I am so grateful.
So usually I feel like I have a pretty good way with words, and I don't typically struggle when trying to express myself. But explaining my relationship to Won Buddhism has been really hard to put on paper. How can I describe that which is often paradoxical, eternally challenging, beyond the realm of words and speech? Luckily for me, some of the right words fell into my lap, quite literally. I was reading a book of short stories, and I encountered a translation of the following text by the Japanese author Banana Yashimoto. She writes, "I'm always interested in seeing deeply into the heart of things. Seeing into the heart of things is very different from seeing things through a personal, subjective lens. Your mind throws out all kinds of distractions, your own interpretations and opinions, feelings of aversion, but you let them go and you delve deeper. Keep doing this, and at some point you reach the final prospect, the last vista of the thing, beyond which there's no further to go. When you get there, the air quiets and everything becomes limpid. You sense that you're very much on your own. At the same time, something tells you that someone from somewhere, at some point, once arrived at the same view." These words express a part of what my practice means to me. Won Buddhism is a lived philosophy and a way of experiencing the world that helps me dive more deeply into the heart of things. It's a practice that wipes the fog from my personal subjective lens so that I can see more clearly. Perhaps most importantly, it represents a community and a space where I can find refuge, where the air quiets and everything becomes a little more clear. 6 years ago, I visited the Raleigh Temple for an evening meditation. At first, the practice was a vague concept to me, and I wasn't totally sure what I'd stumbled into. But I quickly saw the benefits of sitting quietly and contemplating the scripture of this foreign philosophy. For my friends and family at home, the practice for me is really just a few simple steps applied each day. Sitting in meditation, gleaning wisdom from the world around us, and making mindful choices. The practice is simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. In the years since my initial visit to the temple, I have felt my heart open from studying the concept of the fourfold grace. My body has settled from hours of meditation, and my mind expanding from countless Dharma discussions. What was once a foreign philosophy has since become something very personal and very dear. Perhaps most importantly, I've gotten to know the bright and brilliant folks who make this community what it is. Our temple is filled with kind, patient, inquisitive people. This community, our sangha, has helped me to become more aligned with my calm and clear true nature. At the same time, my Dharma friends have helped me to see how much work I still have to do. Which is why I'm here today. This naming ceremony symbolizes my commitment to the lifelong work of embodying my true nature and embracing a more thoughtful and engaged life. I'm paraphrasing here, but Banana Yashimoto says, when you drop your ego and preconceptions and see deeply into the heart of things, you might start to feel a little uncertain. You may sense that you're now on your own. Won Buddhism challenges me to see my own experiences in new ways. Sometimes that shift in perspective can make me feel a little uncertain. It also forces me to confront the fact that there is no one else but me to answer for my actions or know the progress of my own mind. So in some ways, I'm on my own. But that doesn't mean that I'm alone. I'm so grateful to each person who's here today, everyone joining online, our kimonims, and especially my Dharma sisters for making this journey possible. May we all look deeply into the heart of things together.
My name is Cassie, and I've been practicing at our temple for about 2 years now. Before I came, I had been practicing engaged Buddhism in the Plum Village tradition for several months on my own, and I was looking for a community to practice with who shared similar values. That's not a super interesting story, and what I feel is a lot more interesting is what I have gained since I began to practice with this sangha. I have gained the counsel of incredible teachers, the love and support of kind friends, and the consistency of a guided practice. I have met elders who inspire me to keep growing up and who I feel I can turn to for wisdom and fair advice. I have felt a sense of peace and acceptance towards aspects of existence that I could barely stand to consider before. I have learned control within myself and how to relinquish the illusion of control outside of myself. I have found room in my heart for contradictory ideas and feelings to coincide in harmony. I have found dharma that extends beyond the identification of itself and truth that defies a sect or path or place or name. I have loved more profoundly, forgiven actions that I once thought unforgivable, and healed wounds so old that I don't remember even when they were ever inflicted. I have found the things I need in life are already within me, and I have been empowered by realizing that there is nothing within me. I could fill a book with things I have learned from this practice, and probably many more with things I have yet to learn. Reverend Wongong says receiving a dharma-name is like getting married. The relationship itself does not change day to day, but the formality of a commitment assures the course of the future in a new way. When I agreed to marry my husband, it was both in honor of the many blessings he had already brought into my life and an acknowledgement that I wanted my future and his to embody the same space. Today, I accept a dharma-name for the exact same reasons: to show gratitude for the growth this practice has already allowed me, and to acknowledge a future where I and my practice go forward together in equal parts of the same life. I feel I have already received many wonderful titles throughout my life: daughter, sister, spouse, advocate, friend. I hope to treat the name I have received today in the same way I have treated those names, as a condition that is innate within me and a privilege I will strive every day to become worthy of. I am honored and excited to continue down this path with this sangha. I thank this community, both in here and online, for the many blessings you've already given me, and I hope I can return them as a member of the Kyowadan. Thank you.